anybody, I think. Well, that's not necessarily true. She was a bit of a slow starter. Look at you. Oh, and now look at her. Look at her. Do you remember last time you saw her? You are too cute. Too cute. Too cute. Too much purring. Oh, get that tail. Get that tail. Oh, you're so cute. She still has her upper respiratory infection, which we're continuing to treat. As best we can. It does seem to be better certain days, but sometimes they just take a long time. Oh, the big news is that, look how cute she is. Oh, did you just see yourself? Look, she just saw herself on the monitor. The big news is that I finally just got results back on the 3 other kittens. And Jingle and Nicholas are both negative, which means everyone in their room came back negative, which is fantastic. I'm thinking we will still, like, Microfloof has just seen herself on the monitor too. I don't think she can jump that high yet though, hopefully. Hopefully. No, that's not a toy. That is not a toy for the elves. So that's awesome. I suspect that we will need to do just one more test, just like that's the strictest of the medical protocol, just following everything like to the T. However, I don't know. I'm you know, I pleaded our case with Dr. Ferguson, but we'll see what she recommends. You are so silly. You know what? You can take it. This is for you to attack. This is for you to play with. It's not this. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Go get your little friend there. Your little friend. Look how cute she is. Look, now she's able to get that one. Oh, Elsie. Trouble in this room. Okay, so I know I keep getting distracted because they're so cute. Okay, so we got we got the first 3 back yesterday, Mistletoe, Comet, and Elf, and they were all negative. We got the second 3 back just now. Noel is negative for Microsporum canis, but still positive for whatever the second species of ringworm that they had. Whatever that one was. I'm still a little unclear on that whole situation, but apparently like 90% of ringworm in cats is from Microsporum canis. And then there's 10% that could be a combination of other species. So these guys, because they like to do things special, were positive for 2 species, and so the so Microsporum canis is came back negative, which is really good. That's the main one we've been fighting. I don't even know if the other ones are really a concern. We don't know what they are, so we don't know really anything about them. I don't know anything about them. So and again, we don't know. I suspect it's a very, very minimal amount, because they both already did get a negative at one point. So, but definitely for these 2, we're gonna wait for 2 consecutive negatives. So, Elf's negative in this round doesn't really count because she's still with Microfloof. and could, in theory, be getting contaminated with microflue spores. I think in this situation, there probably is very, very little spore contamination, if any viable spores. But unfortunately, we don't have any scientific way to determine that. So we have really no choice but to sort of follow the letter of the law with the recommended protocol, which will be to wait till microflue also tests completely negative, and then do get one more negative for both of them after that. So it's gets super complicated in this sort of situation, just because we know practically and realistically that there probably is not an issue, and whatever happened on the last test with the upstairs guys was probably just environmental contamination. So they may have just had like one spore. She's watching herself in the monitor. She's watching this boy in the monitor. She's very excited about it. But we don't have any scientific way to prove that, so we have to proceed as if they were truly positive. So just so that there's no risk of, we would hate to. What's that? We check it out. We would hate to make an assumption on that and then be wrong. So anyway, yeah, super complicated, but the good news is that 5 of the 6 tests came back negative, and the 6th was negative for the ringworm we're most concerned about, and so I don't really know what that second one means, what the implications are, but we have to treat it as if it's something serious, and if it delays them going home a little bit, we just have to accept that is better than the alternative, which would be making a mistake and then sending them to a home and then having their new family have to deal with ringworm, which I think is a very, 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 very low risk at this point. But we just have a responsibility to follow the protocol unless we can scientifically prove that it's unwarranted, and we can't do it. We just don't have the tests. We just don't have the proper tests to do that. So, but it's good. It's good. All 4 of the upstairs ones have come back negative, which is the great news. I'm waiting to have a chat with Dr. Ferguson to see how she thinks we should proceed, if we should continue to treat and then retest to get a second negative, and then we should be 100% good to go. Oh, here comes your friend. Or if she's comfortable waiting to see what the fungus egg culture results are. I don't know. So we'll figure that out and keep you posted. And I'm very grateful to the adopters who are being patient and making new plans and waiting and riding the roller coaster right along with us. This is what you guys have been missing for the last couple of weeks. They're so adorable. Oh, get it. There's a spot on the wall. They're so adorable. Let's see, so what else is exciting? Sneak attack. Can you believe they're almost the same size now? Isn't that crazy? It's pretty adorable. Just wait till they're doing one of their little snuggle sessions. It's pretty ridiculous. So cute. Joy had an individual test and hers came back negative, so she's fine. So I'm not worried about her. So it was just the upstairs 4 that hadn't had a test. I did Joy's test because I knew she was going home sooner. So, and then especially with these 4 coming back negative, it just reconfirmed sort of what I was thinking, which is that there may be like a couple of spores left over in the environment. Like, we don't know, you know, if we are soaking all the bedding, we soak all the bedding in bleach, but, you know, let's say there's like something fluffy like this blanket and it's in the bleach bucket, but it doesn't get completely saturated everywhere. So a few spores survive, or the spores are dead, but when you wash it, they don't come off of the fluff. Any of that would trigger a positive, but it would be, it would only be positive saying that there is the presence of ringworm. It's not saying that anyone is infected with ringworm, which is a big difference. So I think we're all pretty anecdotally confident that they're clear, except for Noel. Is probably, Noel certainly may have had a little bit longer of an infection. We don't know. We don't know. That's what the test would indicate. It seems plausible. She might have had a little relapse. Yeah, so this is why we hate ringworm so much, because it's she's so cute. It's so hard. It's hard to completely remove all of the spores from the environment. We can kill the spores, but even if there's a dead spore laying around, it could trigger a positive on the PCR test. Which is why we also ran a fungusay, which is where you actually culture the spores to see if they grow. But of course, the downside of that is that it takes 2 weeks to get a result back on the fungusay. So the PCRs we usually get in 1 to 3 days. It took a little bit longer this time, but so it's just, we just have to make the best of the tools we have available to us, and try to be as certain as we possibly can be that we're not sending home sick cats. Because that's the most important thing. If it takes an extra week or 2 or 3 to officially clear them, then I think it's worth it, so that none of us have to worry. So anyway, this is why a lot of shelters will immediately euthanize when they suspect a cat has ringworm. Notwithstanding how expensive it is to treat and test and everything, it's so much work, and it takes so long for them to become adoptable and all that stuff. So anyway, and we do have some work that needs. These rooms are better than they were for doing isolation, but they're not perfect. They're the big cracks around the baseboards that we need to get fixed now that it's empty. Now the other room's empty. This one has been done, sort of. But so anyway, we're getting there, but yeah, so the fungusay, that's a good question. They should be able to identify under a microscope what species, and they also need to be able to quantify the number of colonies that grow. But a lot of the time, they'll just, fungusays are, you have to be really good at reading them. So there's also one of the downsides of the fungusays, if the person reading them doesn't have a lot of experience reading it, the results can be interpreted incorrectly really easily. So, so we have to look at it under a microscope. you have to do it all in the right order and the right time frame. But Dr. Ferguson's done lots of them, lots and lots and lots of them by now. So she's good at it. But we've had lots of ringworms. Not easy to deal with. Let's just say that. And I don't know how many species there are in total. I know that Microsporum canis is by far the most common one for cats. There's one called Trichophyton, and then there are other species of Microsporum that will, in some cases, affect cats. So that's what's happened here. So anywho, that's pretty. I'm quite happy about the fort upstairs because I was really worried because if like Nicholas had come back positive or something, then we would have had to separate him out, wash everybody, and then do another round of tests. And then another round beyond that because they would have been exposed to it. It gets like you can get into an endless cycle unless you separate every single cat and treat them separately. That's the only way to not have to go through this this whole like testing and retesting and that thing. So but then you trade off their mental well-being because can you imagine Microfloof down here by herself? It would be horrible. I don't think none of us could do that to her. I don't think that would be very compassionate. So we often have to balance what's medically best with what's best emotionally and socially for the kittens, and then try to make the best decision possible. Because are we holding Elf back from being cleared? Probably, but in this case it works out because these two are going home together, which is so great. Oh, get that straw. Get that straw. Get it. Oh, she's so fierce. She's so fierce. Ooh, so cute. So yeah, we do also include the adopters in the decision. It used to be, like I remember when I had the jungle kittens and we were doing everything through laps still, the protocol was that they could adopt them out after just one negative. And now I think we're all waiting till 2 negatives because we've had, using the PCR test now, we've had some of these weird negative and positive situations. And but if an adopter understands the risk and they're okay with it and they're able to keep the cat contained in a room that they can clean and all that stuff, then I would certainly consider sending them home if there was a reasonable assurance that they were truly negative. Like these guys have no clinical signs, and there are a lot of reasons why it would be pretty safe to send probably everyone except Noelf. And the